Hello, everyone. We're live now on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Hi, my name is Natalia Karayaneva. I'm the founder and CEO at Propy. And my co-host today is Willie Dickey, our account executive.
Hey, everyone. So today we have a special guest, Scott Durkin, the COO of Douglas Elliman. So Scott joined Douglas Elliman in January of 2016 as Executive Vice President of Acquisitions and Growth and was promoted to COO in October of 2016. As a self-described protege of Barbara Corcoran, he rose through the ranks during his 25 years at the company, eventually becoming COO. He moved up the chain again this past December when he took on the second title and role of president. In his current role, Scott oversees the brokerage's national expansion efforts, as well as marketing, recruitment, and technology ventures, including Elliman's new partnership with StreetEasy. Thanks, Scott, for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So I'm going to start it off with an easy question. What year did you start in the business, and how did you get into it? Because I remember in our prep call, you sort of accidentally found it. So,
yes, I've been licensed for 30 years. I was 12 when I got my license, but yeah, 30 years ago, 1990, I was on an appointment with a friend of mine who was buying an apartment, and for me, having a career at the time with Four Seasons Hotels. Something like that required a lot of customer service and hand-holding. In this particular appointment, that wasn't happening, and the agent could not have been ruder than she was. So I thought, wow, this is an interesting business, and in many cases, an annual salary was made in one deal. So I sort of fell into it, saying, let me sort of conquer real estate and see what happens when you're nice and you're not nasty. So that's the real story on how I found real estate.
and what was the learning curve like for you? And then at what point did you kind of have that aha moment where you felt like you had it figured out and your career took off?
So my learning curve began, I mean, I was 29 at the time, and I'd say 85% of the people that were selling real estate were female, and they were in the middle of their lives. Their children were just going to college or they were in high school, and they needed to have somewhat some new career, and it was mainly women. So I walked into a room filled with 30 women from 40 to 60 years old, and so they took me under their wing and taught me the business, and I just knew I needed to get them great coffee and food and be there for them, and they would be there for me. We used to call them kitchen sink brokers because a lot of the business was done in the kitchen while they were cooking dinner or breakfast or just always in the kitchen. We wouldn't say that now, though. I think equally male to female ratio.
Sure. So you worked for Barbara Corcoran, and what was that like, and how did that help you?
Well, I was at a company picnic when I joined the Corcoran Group, which was 6 months after my starting my business at a small firm, and Corcoran recruited me. So I was at a company picnic in Fire Island, and if you know Barbara, she loves to be at the beach. And we were playing volleyball, and I didn't know who she was. Back then, I didn't know really anything about real estate. It was sort of a club, so to speak, and it wasn't a big club. So if you didn't know the players, you were sort of lost. But she and I played volleyball together for quite a long time that day. And next thing I know, she's reaching out to me and saying that she loved meeting me and she loved my ideas. And before I knew it, we were sharing her office at the headquarters, and I was her sort of second banana. And I'll never forget the day when she said that she wanted to bring me on board and work exclusively with her, that she said when she would inhale, I would exhale, and that she couldn't find anyone like that. And she didn't feel threatened by me. And let's not forget, at the time, she was entering what was a man's world of growing her own business and growing her company. So it was a very interesting moment for me. It was an aha moment of, wow, I need to take advantage of this. And here we are, still great friends, and text quite a lot all week, and give each other ideas and help each other. So it's been for me my best mentor of my whole life, other than my parents.
So you were basically her shadow for that period of time. And how long was that? And I'm assuming obviously that was the key to your success. And obviously everyone is looking for a mentor, and to fall into that through a match of volleyball is
Right.
a fun story to tell.
Well, I'd say from 95 to 2002, probably, even though that's not a long time, it's a lifetime in the real estate industry.
Sure.
Then she sold her company to Realogy, and she rode off into the sunset about a year later. But it was a crazy time. The company at the time was, I think we had 80 agents in the whole company. And then by the time she sold the company, we had over 1,500 hitting,
Wow.
Going north of that. And so we grew at quite a pace. And so I helped her that whole time. I was recently at a Microsoft conference, and I texted her and said, I'm in the audience. And I never expected her to interrupt her speech to this whole conference and point me out and make me stand up. And she said, yeah, it was great. She said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Scott Durkin, Scott stand up. So she, she always gave back. That's one thing she had going for her, that she hired people to be around her that had everything that she didn't have in terms of the knowledge of something about marketing, PR, selling, advertising. So she always found the best people to be around her, and she got the best out of them because she treated them so well.
And also she tries to surround herself with positive people. And
oh yeah, she's big on that.
I can see that.
Couldn't have any negativity. It just doesn't belong. She felt it didn't belong in the workplace, and it took away from what we were supposed to be doing, and there was no drama. Everyone sort of fit in to this big happy family. And let's not forget, she came from a family of 12 siblings, and so she was used to having a lot of people in the room and sharing, one sandwich with 10 people. She was really good at that. She always made you feel like you were worth your weight in gold.
That's fantastic, especially for early stage startups like Propy and other peers. It's so critical to have not only smart people, but most of all, what's the human inside? We should be connected to each other in a positive way, and there is no place for negativity, complaints without constructive feedback, and so on. So I can see how this approach led to great success with you and Barbara.
Yeah, it was very, very important that your home life and your business life really needed to mirror each other. And if they didn't, it just didn't work out at the office. It was a great place. And if you ever run into anyone that has worked there or still works there, they have nothing but wonderful things to say about her. And that's a testament to what she gave back.
So I'm sure over that 5-year span that you learned a lot from her, but if there was one thing you would take away from that, what's the most important thing that she gave you in terms of knowledge?
For me, the most important thing is to have people around you that are smarter than you and know more than you know about other things, and that creates the best team. I'm fearless of having someone in the room that's smarter than me, because they're going to make everyone on their team look good as well as me. But it was always like, find the best and get them in the room together, and you can create magic. And don't bring your ego in the room. Leave it at home.
Awesome.
That's good advice. And then you talked about the importance of having a work-life balance, and that's crucial to success. So obviously yourself in a leadership position right now. Nobody thought we'd all be confined to our homes conducting business via Zoom. So how have you had to adapt to that to support your team and allow them to balance work and life when it's sort of melding into one?
Yeah, it's true. I think the first impression of working from a remote place was that it was going to be easy and relaxing. Well, that's not true. I think, as you know, everyone who's listening to this podcast, it's much more difficult to work from home. First of all, you have more hours in the day to work, and everyone expects you to be available every single day at any time. And also, you'll work from 8 in the morning until 8 at night without many interruptions. I'm lucky. I've been up in the Catskills, which is 2 hours north of the city. So I can take a lot of calls. I upgraded our Wi-Fi at the house. I can take calls in the front porch, the back porch, out in the field, and in the truck. You have to mix it up, and then you have to take some breaks yourself. So I have a break where I can do a Zoom workout with my trainer Caleb, and then pop back into work. My training sessions have gone down to 30 minutes because I can't keep there any longer, and I have to go back to work. But yeah, it's changed dramatically, and I think that you're always available. And we think in real estate that we're always available to everyone, but this is even more intense than I ever expected it to be. Right now, though, I am back in Manhattan. It's my second week.
How do you feel there?
How do I feel?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks.
The first day I was angry because I hadn't been here in 6 months, and I texted my husband and I was like, "This is awful. I want to go home right now. Go back, leave the city," because I didn't know that the mayor had cut the trash pickup by 60%. So the streets were filthy, and unfortunately the shelters were closed. So a lot of the homeless people are living on the street and under the scaffolding and in the parks. So it was a bit jarring. But by the second day, I was realizing, wow, this is our New York, and we have to get back here and get back to work, obviously safely back to work and social distancing. So it took 24, 40 hours for me to get over it. And so we're trying our best to be here and to bring it back. I was able to eat lunch outside today, and it was quite nice. But who knows, because in a few weeks, it might be too cold to do that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I know our agents are out there showing, and deals are happening, and the business is really there. People are realizing it's a great time to buy in the city, and it's definitely a buyer's market now. That's one sort of silver lining for the buyers, is that during this COVID period, we weren't considered essential here in New York City, so we weren't able to show for a long time. So we're playing catch up.
Understandable, yeah. It's a lot of pent up demand, I'm assuming. Going back to pivot for a second, I actually had a similar experience to you as we spoke about. I've been in Vermont and was in the city about a week ago, and on the Upper East Side, and I walked out of the apartment, and there was people, taking their kids to school in the morning, people getting coffee, and I'm like, despite the masks, this seems kind of normal. Right. So it's like you said, the city that's been through a lot, and it always seems to bounce back. So it's kind of cool to see those transformations happen.
Yeah, we're hopeful. I think it'll be fine. We're resilient.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of going back to your experience with Barbara. What is the importance of a mentor? And obviously you were in the lucky situation where you had Barbara, but what advice could you give to someone if they're looking for a mentor, whether that's internally at the organization that they're currently at or externally?
I think a mentor is so important. And I think the first thing that a new person in the business needs to do is to find out who are the important people in each firm they're at, who are the biggest and the most respected. not necessarily the biggest, but the most respected agents are the best ones to partner up with. The best thing to do, though, is don't go in and have the manager recommend that you work with someone. You have to figure out who you want to work with. And sometimes the marriage is sort of fixed on the way in the door, and that tends to fall out quicker. But go in, see who's doing what, see who's most respected, see who everyone goes to, because a lot of agents go to other agents, and work that relationship. And yes, the manager will help you a lot. I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing. They do. But this is something that you need to sort of want around you all day. I was lucky. I mean, I got Barbara Corcoran. I mean, we really shared a room for 7 years, the same office. So I was able to sort of see her. Also, I became her in many ways because she might not have known the answer. So we had a big whiteboard. She was on a phone call, I would write down, oh, don't forget this, don't forget that, don't forget this. We didn't have computers back then that we could text each other. But find someone that you know that you could get something out of. Don't pick the same personality. Remember, you're not going to be their friend. Sometimes the best salespeople might not have the best bedside manner, and they may be sort of different with their clients than they are in the office. But do your homework. And a mentor is so important because you can learn this business very quickly, but you can learn it the wrong way. And sometimes what you see on television is not what's really happening. And I'm not knocking that. I think that's important because we're now a respected place, the real estate agent. Before we weren't. I mean, it was considered like the undertaker, the tax collector, and the real estate agent. But now it's a career choice, and it can really be lucrative and it can be exciting. But it's not all Hollywood. But try to find the best person that you think you could learn the most from, and just survey everything and see who does what, and see who everyone goes to, and where you can get the most bang for your buck. And don't be, you're going to have to eat a little humble pie there, and maybe you'll be their assistant. Who knows? But it's worth it. It's worth the investment of a year or two, and then go out on your own.
Sure.
I also am a huge fan of asking for different types of experts. They don't have to have a very high position, but those experts that can help you to fill the gap in certain areas that you're very passionate about. And for example, for broker owners, for business operators, it could be as a mentor on social media, on public speaking. So they could be different areas. And what I found helpful to myself personally is really finding a mentor on the topic that I'm currently very passionate about. And it could be an engagement only like 2 months, 3 months, but it's always so fulfilling engagement where the other party feels that they give the benefit, they give back to the community, while you're basically having the first-hand advice from experts. And also, Scott, I'm very curious about Barbara's involvement in technology and Shark Tank. She was obviously a celebrity also because of this show, where, of course, she showed all her passion to entrepreneurs, to technology. Can you comment on that?
Sure. I think I have to be honest, when she first got on the show, and I watched it, it wasn't the Barbara that I had known.
Oh, really?
And so that's a great example of how she was able to pivot from what she grew as a company and turn into the shark that she is. Because we never saw that Barbara at my company, at the Corcoran Group. So she surveyed the land of Shark Tank and realized that, wow, if I'm not going to be a shark, I'm not going to be on this show. And I remember getting together with her, and she's, she always loved my opinion because we were so closely involved in so many things. And I said, I'm shocked at what you say to people because it's so mean. And she never, I tell you, she never was like that. But she's still Barbara, and she always had a way of she has a velvet whip in a way, rather than just kicking someone when they're down. But you know, she took command of her position there, knowing that to get on camera, you have to tell the truth and perhaps tell them something they may not want to hear about their product or the way they sell. I mean, I remember seeing her many times saying, "Oh, I love the product, but you're driving me crazy." She never really said that to us, and I think because she owned the company then, and everyone had a place at the table. But I'm so proud of the way she runs the ship there, and she's able to just completely say what's on her mind. And
why she actually took this position at first place? What do you think? Is this the love to technology, entrepreneurs, visibility, extra branding for Douglas Elliman?
Well, for Corcoran, you mean? Yeah, I think she did it for a lot of reasons, and I think also she reminds me of Joan Rivers, the comedian who always had to have her calendar full every day or something was wrong. And I think she just has no intention of stopping. She's 71 and she never stops. There's never a moment. Of course she goes on vacation and all of that, but for the most part it was about having something to do and making a difference. And being the turning the head and when she walks into a room, heads turn. And I think sort of carrying that on when you sell your company and your ship has sailed, to be in that position and to be so vulnerable and not know what to do. I think she really was able to come out on top. I mean, I said to her the other day, "You're more famous than you were when we knew you."
I guess, yeah.
You can't really go anywhere now without
beautiful.
Getting
is she fine with her publicity now?
That's what she loves the most.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
When are we going to see you on Shark Tank?
Well, the rules are if you know anyone on the show, you can't be on the show. So some people will say, "Oh, can you get me? I need to talk to Barbara. I have a pitch." And I'm like, "Well, you'll be disqualified. So you have to apply on your own," which is kind of nice. Because can you imagine all the favors?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that's a great rule.
Yeah.
That would be a nightmare.
I think one of the things that she instilled in me is that be afraid of nothing. And that's a lot. I mean, and it's testament to what she says, because that's what she's doing right now. I was on the set last year. I went to LA. She invited me for the finale. Well, actually, it was a finale, but it was really on the show Grace and Frankie. And there's a scene in Grace and Frankie where they go on Shark Tank to pitch a toilet that when you press a button, the seat pushes you off the toilet. And so Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda were on set. It was really amazing. It was really amazing.
And speaking of this disruption, with the example you gave, we have an audience that doesn't have any patience to actually hear from you. What will be the tech disruption, whether it take the residential real estate industry any different?
So what would be our biggest disruption?
Yeah, what do you think about tech disruption specifically in residential real estate?
Well, I think, I was there in 1998, I think it was, during the dot-com boom. And we were all afraid that, oh my God, we'll be replaced by computers, we'll be replaced by robots. And, it all came crashing down in 2 years after that, and we started over again, and now we're back there again. And I think this time it's a much smarter group of people, and they want a piece of our business, and I'm fine with the tech piece of it on how we can manage our business and run our businesses. The piece where they're in your business, though, trying to sell you back your own leads when it's really your lead that got the lead. I find that a little offensive and egregious. So that's one thing I think has been our biggest disruptor. And it's hard to swallow that pill because you work so hard to get your business as an agent. they just don't get handed these listings. These are relationships that have been built for years, and they've cultivated the entire families to work with them. And all of a sudden now, they put their listing up on an aggregator, and then they turn around and want some of the commission. That to me is the worst part of the business right now. I think people are trying to just put their hand out, and what they provide us is not worth it. However, as an industry, we've always fallen behind the technology sort of train in a way. We've been too slow to adapt. We've ignored it, and then now the people that have the keys to the castle want us to pay for it, but they really need us to make it work. So we've sort of fallen asleep at the wheel when it comes to addressing technology and identifying technology, and also paying attention to it. You know, much of what we do every day is in person, and now it's virtual, and that making deals happen, and juggling the whole deal from the offer to the contract to the financing to the walkthrough to the inspection to the closing. I mean, there's so many points to it that we've not really paid attention to how we're running our businesses behind the scene. But the piece that really is the most upsetting to us is the piece of people thinking they deserve part of our commission and finding every way they can to sell us back leads, which is...
And do you refer primarily to these large players and portals?
Yes.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Because there are also a number of startups that are giving the products, let's say, for free, or small payment is being charged from agents. And then once they get data of the participants in transactions, then they sell back some other stuff without the consent of the agent, which is just happening with a number of companies. Startups, one startup here, particularly in the Bay Area, then another large company. Also, they didn't want to change the data privacy policy, so they are open. They say, we potentially will utilize your transaction data.
Right. Well, yeah, and in the same breath, I'll give you an example of one aggregator. We give them the listing, and they wouldn't have listings if we didn't give them the listings. But in the same breath, they're selling the banner ad on the left or the right to not call the exclusive agent and call someone else who has nothing to do with the listing. I mean, it's really unfair in a way, and it's deceiving, and also to the consumer, it's confusing. And we have all of these disclosure pieces that run state by state that generally say the same thing, but and then in the same breath, an aggregator is allowed to trick the consumer when we would never do that. And we have certain rules and laws that protect them and us. But, you know, I just remember it didn't stay around long in the 90s. It's staying around longer now, but we'll see, because there's nothing like having a great real estate agent to find you a property or sell your property. There's just no way that any tech...
So you think it's just a matter of time, actually, the keys to the castle to be owned by different participants?
Well, I think this particular time they're able to think...
Let's say in 10 years, like long term.
In 10
Do you think
years,
it will change?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think they have the agents think differently than the tech people, and that's what they've never been able to marry the two. Agents have great minds. They can juggle a lot. They can do many things at multitasking, but they're not, you know, the tech piece has always been what powers their business and their day and their daily life. I don't know if it's going to take the place, or maybe just, you know, it's interesting. I think brand is important, culture is important. Great salespeople like to be around other great salespeople, and they like to be recognized. They like to have peers. They like to have offices. This whole thing about pretty soon we won't have any offices and we'll never see each other again, I don't think that is going to work for a certain segment of the market. And at our company at Douglas Elliman, we have an average price of anywhere from 800,000 to 1,500,000, depending on the market. So it's a different experience, and it's a different expectation by the buyer or the seller.
We're also convinced that the agent will definitely be on the market. Maybe those who had hobbies and part-time occupation in this profession, maybe those, it won't probably make sense for them to learn all the process, to learn all the technology, because right now agents who know social media, how to generate leads in an innovative way, how to work with all the CRMs, transaction platforms, and so on, those seem to be more successful. But besides agents, what other market participants do you think potentially will become obsolete, if ever? Let's say in brokerage business, title business, mortgage business, and so on.
I think that those are sort of ancillary. They are ancillary to our main business, but we do have businesses. We have a title company at Douglas Elliman, and we have an escrow company in our California, Douglas Elliman. You know, they always need to be part of the transaction, and I think if there's a better way that could help facilitate a quicker closing, we'd certainly adapt to that. I don't think that they're a threat, though. We don't make our money from all of those as much as some other companies do. That tends to happen on the bigger franchises, but we don't. Our money's made in our resale and our new development business, and a portion of it is also the rental income from the rental commissions in New York. But I don't think that's a threat for us. Yeah, I think the actual luxury product or the luxury home or the listing will always have to have a special handling package to it, that you're not going to be able to walk up to a door and scan something and walk into someone's home. I mean, the thought of that is pretty scary.
Yeah.
I used to work at a property management company, single family rentals, and they sort of target the lower end, and that's for their business works where they put a lockbox, you schedule an appointment online, and for them it's efficient. But to your point, at the higher end, there's sort of that expectation of a white glove service. And so speaking of that, you know, you kind of talked about stuff that the agents utilize technology for, and lead generation. Internally in a management position, what are some of the pain points that you face that you think potentially could be solved by tech? You know, obviously, Douglas Elliman's a huge company, so when you're trying to make decisions, you know, what do you look at? Do you have a lot of transparency over the different offices, agents, that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And how could that be improved?
Well, I think the biggest hurdle for us, especially now, because we're in the middle of the big prop tech piece of it, and the CRMs, like you said, and the social media and everything else that goes along with marketing yourself today in a modern tech field. Half of our company can't adjust to that because they haven't grown up on it. They don't know how to make it work, and they don't understand how it works. And that's been our most difficult piece, is where someone will come to me and say, well, so-and-so has, 180,000 followers. How do I get that? What are they doing? And they just, it's a real learning curve there, that it's hard to fill that in when they don't know how it's done. And you can have training class after training class, but it's something that many people that are coming into the industry that are new, say the Gen Zs or the millennials, this is natural for them to run their business this way. But other people that have been in business for a long time, it sort of has gotten away from them because they've been upstaged by all of the shiny pennies. And that's for us, that's our most difficult piece, is training the experienced agent who's been in the business for 20 years or longer And those are huge agents, important agents, but it's a struggle for us. And I think any company that's been around since 1911, like us.
Sure. Now, that brought a funny thought to my mind. Do you find almost a reverse mentorship relationship going on, where the older folks are relying on the younger folks to make them more up to date and technology literate?
That to me, Will, is the biggest thing I'm seeing right now is that just what you said. Someone who's been in the business a long time. When we were excited about the Palm Pilot, which you guys might not even know what it was.
I remember that vaguely. I never used one, but
and now absolutely they're buddying up with the person that's just come out of college or that might be in their early 30s, a millennial, and they're piggybacking on them because they know that that's the only way to be relevant. And that's the biggest fear, is the relevant piece. And so it's important. And they're doing that. It's completely flipped.
Yeah, Willie, I like your point as well. I think I have the best mentor in-house, my daughter. She's 13 years old. And I am fascinated the way she uses her phone and technology. Very different behavior, like using voice, using different stuff that just saves a lot of time. Yeah.
I mean, people my age now need to be watching TikTok at night before they go to bed. I will admit, I'm about 15 minutes a night I'm on TikTok.
Cool.
You have to bring it into your life.
Are you posting any videos yet?
No.
Okay. Well, if when you do, you can give us the handle. I'm not even on it. I'm trying to figure it out.
You don't have to be on it. You can look without. You should look up Barbara Corcoran's TikTok. One of the first ones she did, she woke up and she didn't have any makeup on, and she was showing how she made her breakfast one day. And I was texting saying, you need to be careful. You don't want ABC looking at this without any makeup on. She was au natural, like just.
Yeah, I saw those videos on Instagram.
Yeah, they're hysterical.
Yeah, she's posting those, how she's cleaning the house. It's hilarious. Yeah. She's making them on TikTok and then posting them on Instagram.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I think everyone needs to put their toe in the pool, or there won't be any pool for them. There's just you have to keep, and if you're behind on this, you really have to really hire people to help you get there and get through it. And I think also some people won't, like you said, Natalia, I think you just said that the part-timers and the ones that really this isn't a full-time career, they won't have, in a couple of years, you're right, this business will be changed dramatically, where it's so fast-paced and there are fewer people doing more business.
Yeah. And what do you think about most cutting-edge technology, which we still don't see a lot of adoption of it and change, but like AI, blockchain, what do you think about promises of those?
Okay, well, I think I've sat through maybe 5 presentations for blockchain. I remember my friend Ryan Beckett once showed me, and
I think Ryan is here.
Is Ryan on? Hey Ryan, remember when you showed me blockchain? I looked at him and said, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I still didn't get it. But now I sort of get it, but I'm thinking, how can it help our industry? Because there's so many pieces of the deal that don't communicate with each other and that have so many separate files and require so many different entries and people in the room. And it for me, I didn't know how we could adapt that in our business. What was the other one you asked? Blockchain
and AI, yeah. Besides
AI.
Blockchain, AI, and other technology that is.
I'm going to turn the question around to you guys. How do you think AI could help real estate?
Well, we see the first attempts of adoption of AI, for example, recognition of some objects on the picture so that you can evaluate properties faster, better. Then we are in Propy, of course, we're using blockchain to connect all those pieces together in one transaction, as you just mentioned. But another area of utilizing cutting edge technologies such as AI is actually a recognition of signatures and all the compliance pieces. And obviously it will be only an additional help to auditors and transaction coordinators, because you can detect some patterns and make sure that all the documents are in place for one particular transaction, but you will always need a professional to see those hints so that, okay, the 50 documents out of 60 looks like they could be approved, but a person will still look and check this.
Yeah, from my perspective, I've seen it actually implemented already. And in the single family rental space on the institutional side, some of these big investors that own 40, 50, 60,000 homes, they have their buy box where they're looking for 3-bed, 2-bath within a certain price range, certain geography. But now they've leveraged this technology where they can use AI to scan listings and literally get so granular as to look for a kitchen with natural light or very specific features and stuff, so it can narrow down their search. That's obviously not on the consumer side of the business yet, but I would assume that it'll get there at some point and be leveraged.
Yeah, I always welcome software and new products that will help the agents with their consumers, their customers, and their clients, because our clients and our customers are on, especially now with COVID, are online all day looking for something, and property, and they'll look at everything from, even if they don't need it, they're looking at it. So it would be wonderful to see how we could sort of package that into their own sort of sphere of what they love. And I get that. I think that's wonderful, and I think it helps them. There will be people that always want a pool, or always want a fireplace, or a high ceiling, or I would think that it would work within that particular piece of their search. So I think that's important, and I always say we need to figure out how to babysit them so they don't stray and go see something without their agent, which sometimes they do and they don't realize what they've done.
Right.
The more you can keep them, their eyeballs on the website and all of your media and all of your houses and your homes, the better it is, and the more they'll come back to you.
Makes sense. So looks like we are almost at the end, but
Wow.
Wanted to ask 2 questions. First one is, what advice do you have for the audience in terms of adjusting to different times during COVID and having to work remotely and leverage different technologies and stuff, and still be able to be successful, generate new business, and maintain relationships?
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing, and I talk to a lot of our agents I'm talking to some that have no business right now, and they've got 15 listings, but the phone's not ringing. And then I've talked to others across the aisle that have 7 deals in the hopper in the last 3 weeks. So I think, and it's funny, Barbara said it on the news the other day, like, throw out your business plan right now, because it's not going to work. Nothing is like it was on March 10th or 12th or 13th, whatever the day was. The world stopped then, and we're in a different world right now. And until we get back to the world we knew, which we may not, you need to rethink your business, and what you thought was running your business may not run your business anymore, especially if you're in a high density area like a city like New York, where people are looking for a weekend house. You need to sort of get with them and get at least a piece of that and offer to help them find their weekend home, their 4th home, because you have to do different things now, because It's not like it was. And you do have more time. So I think you need to clean up your social media and start posting and become relevant in this kind of market and this kind of environment, and get yourself out there, because as you know, everyone has turned to all of these fun things like TikTok and obviously Instagram, Facebook. Um, it's important to just throw out that business plan and start over if nothing's happening.
Gotcha. No, that's
yeah, I just lost the connection, but I'm back through my mobile device because Silicon Valley internet.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. Before we go, we are wrapping up, but before we go, can you suggest a book or a podcast to our audience?
Well, okay, here's one, because it's so new and it's so relevant. I know I'm using that word a lot, but Tracy Tudor has a book, and Tracy's one of our top agents in the company. She's on $1 million listing. She's out in Beverly Hills. The book is called Fear is a Four-Letter Word. Fear is a Four-Letter Word by Tracy Tudor, Tutor. It's a real modern, up-to-date, topical book on becoming a great salesperson. And what I love about it, it's personal things are thrown into it too: relationships, fashion, travel. You know, it sort of covers everything. So here is a four-letter word by Tracy Tudor, Tutor.
Good title. And another short question: do you think a crash on our market is possible anytime soon?
I don't. No, I don't see it happening. I think, and I've been through 4 crashes, not crashes, but been through, you know, the 87, then 9/11, and the mortgage crisis in 09, and this. No, every other market is on fire right now for us. I mean, Florida, California, the Hamptons, Long Island, Westchester, Connecticut, Boston, Houston is on fire. Not on fire, but busy.
On fire.
Yeah. But it's amazing, and I think this has made people sort of wake up and realize, oh, I need a second home, I need a third home, I need a place to go. Yeah, I need to wait until I can get back to my other home when COVID is gone, or when we have a vaccine. So I don't see it. And interest rates are so incredibly low that if you don't, you should be borrowing right now. They're at 3% or less.
Yeah, they're less now. Okay, awesome. Willie, Scott, what was the second last question?
This is the most important question of the entire webinar. You mentioned the other day that you had thrown out all your suits and recently purchased a new wardrobe. So post-COVID, what is going to be the fashion trend in real estate? Because it's always been a very, anybody that watches $1 Million Listings, fancy suits and lots of expensive jewelry and watches. So how are people going to dress after COVID?
I think when you see those $1 Million Listing shows and you see the agent walk in for a $100 million house and wearing, you know, Adidas and James Purse drawstring and a sweater and a t-shirt and a baseball cap, I think that's the new look. The relaxed look is in. You're right. I found Alex Mill, my favorite new place to shop. And
here we go. We made the placement.
I did it. Oh no, I love it. And I never wear stripes, but a lot of the stripes they have make me look good. So yeah, I think it's a much more relaxed world. And I think what happened there was we were eating so much that we didn't fit into anything. But I lost the weight from the sourdough craze. I was part of that too in our house. We have a lot of sourdough. But yeah, I think it's important. I think being comfortable now is a very important way to live your life, and I think we're realizing
any sense, right? It's not only fashion, actually. being comfortable in your work environment, in your
Yes.
clothes, in your home. This is why we're seeing so many upgrades.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the upgrades in the homes. I mean, on Elliman.com, the biggest searches have been for acreage and swimming pools. People want big property pieces and swimming pools.
Oh, wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and a fifth bedroom for the home office.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a really awesome discussion. Scott, thank you so much for your time, for your insights. That was great.
It's been great.
We will be sharing all the links and all the resources we got from you here today on our newsletter, on our post. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Right. Thanks, Willie.
Thanks, Scott.
I'll speak to you soon.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good one.
You too.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye-bye, everyone.